The first morning of the year. Do you remember the first morning of a new year? Do you open your eyes slowly? Do you stay quiet for a while? What do you do first? Do you reach for your phone? Or do you sit and think? This is a story about how one person began each new year. His name is Barack Obama. He was a leader. He was a father. He was a writer. But before all of that, he was a reader. Every January, when the new year came, he did something simple. He did not make big plans right away. He did not write long lists. He did not speak to many people. He began with silence. He began with a book. He began with a pen and a blank page. This is not a story about politics. This is not a story about power. This is a story about how someone chose to start over, again and again, every January. And maybe, if we listen, we can learn something quiet and useful. The first day. Imagine the first morning of January. The air is cold. The streets are still. Most people are sleeping late. The year is brand new. Everything feels possible. Obama would wake up early. He would not rush. He would sit in a chair near a window. Sometimes he had a cup of coffee. Sometimes he had tea. But always, he had a book. Not a new book. Not a famous book. Sometimes it was an old book he had read before. Sometimes it was a book about history. Sometimes it was a book of poems. He would open the book slowly. He would read the first page. He would read it again. He was not in a hurry. He was not looking for answers. He was looking for questions. He was looking for ideas that made him think. Why reading? You might ask, why reading? Why not planning? Why not working? Obama once said something about this. He said that reading helps us understand people we have never met. He said it helps us see the world in new ways. Let me say that again in easier words. Reading lets you learn from people far away. Reading lets you see things you never saw before. Here is a simple example. Imagine you read a story about a girl in another country. She wakes up at 5 in the morning. She walks 2 hours to school. She studies by candlelight. When you read this, something changes inside you. You think her life is different from mine. You think she works so hard. You think maybe I can work harder too. You did not meet this girl. But reading her story changed how you think. This is what Obama meant. This is why he read every January. He wanted to remember. The world is big. People are different. There is always more to learn. The blank notebook. After reading, Obama would do something else. He would take out a notebook. The notebook was empty. The pages were clean and white. He would hold a pen. He would sit quietly. Then he would write. Not many words at first. Maybe just a few sentences. He would write about what he read. He would write about what he was thinking. He would write about what he hoped for. But here is the important part. He did not write a big plan. He did not write, "This year I will do 10 great things." He wrote small thoughts. He wrote questions to himself. He wrote about moments that mattered. Let me give you an example. Imagine you just read a story about a teacher. This teacher worked in a poor school. She had no computers. She had no new books. But every day, she smiled at her students. Every day, she told them, "You can learn. You are smart." And slowly, her students began to believe her. After reading this, you might write in your notebook, "How can I encourage someone today?" Or, "Who believed in me when I was young?" Or, "What small thing can I do to help?" These are not big plans. These are quiet questions. But these questions can change how you live. Obama understood this. He knew that big changes start with small thoughts. So every January, he wrote small thoughts in his notebook. The morning silence. Now let me tell you about the silence. This is important. Obama did not start the new year with noise. He did not turn on the television. He did not check the news right away. He did not call people. He sat in silence. He gave himself time to think. Why is silence important? Because in silence, you can hear yourself. In silence, you can ask, what do I really want? What do I really care about? Who do I want to become? These questions are hard to hear when there is noise around you. Let me give you a New Year example. Imagine it is January 1st. You wake up. Right away, you check your phone. You see messages. You see news. You see pictures of parties. Your mind fills up with other people's voices. Now imagine something different. You wake up. You do not check your phone. You sit by the window. You look outside. You breathe slowly. You ask yourself, what matters to me this year? In the second example, you have space to think. You have space to listen to your own heart. This is what Obama did every January. He gave himself space. He gave himself silence. What he read. You might wonder, what did Obama read? He read many kinds of books. Sometimes he read about history. He wanted to understand how people lived long ago. He wanted to learn from their mistakes. He wanted to remember their courage. Sometimes he read novels. He read stories about families. He read stories about struggle. He read stories about hope. He once said, reading fiction helps me imagine what it is like to be someone else. Let me explain that in easier words. When you read a story, you step into another person's life. You feel what they feel. You see what they see. This makes you kinder. This makes you wiser. Here is an example. Imagine you read a story about an old man. He lives alone. His children are far away. Every day, he sits on his porch. He watches people walk by. He wishes someone would stop and talk. When you read this story, you might think, I should visit my grandfather. Or, I should talk to the old man on my street. The story changed you. It made you see someone you did not see before. This is the power of reading. Obama knew this power. That is why he read every January. Writing the first words. Now, back to the notebook. Obama would write the first words of the year. Not the first email. Not the first speech. The first words in his private notebook. These words were just for him. Nobody else would read them. Why did he do this? Because writing helps you understand your own thoughts. When you write, you make your ideas clear. Let me show you. Imagine you are worried about something. The worry is big and messy in your mind. You do not know what to do. Now imagine you write it down. You write, I am worried about my exam. Then you write, why am I worried? Then you write, I did not study enough. Then you write, what can I do now? Then you write, I can study 1 hour every day this week. See what happened? The big messy worry became a clear plan. Writing did that. Obama used writing the same way. Every January, he wrote to understand himself better. A real quote. Obama once said this, reading is the gateway skill that makes all other learning possible. Let me break this down. A gateway is a door. When you go through a door, you enter a new place. Reading is like that door. When you can read, you can learn anything. You can learn about science. You can learn about art. You can learn about other countries. You can learn about yourself. Reading opens everything. Here is a New Year example. Imagine it is January. You want to learn something new this year. Maybe you want to learn about stars. Maybe you want to learn how to cook. Maybe you want to understand how your body works. How will you learn? You will read. You will read books. You will read articles. You will read instructions. Reading is the tool that lets you learn. This is what Obama meant. This is why he started every year with reading. He was opening the gateway. He was making all other learning possible. The calendar on the wall. Picture this. A new calendar hanging on the wall. All the days are empty. No appointments yet. No plans yet. Just blank squares. 52 weeks ahead. 365 days. Obama would look at this calendar. He would think, how will I use this time? But he would not try to fill every day right away. He would not make huge plans. Instead, he would think about small habits. What is a habit? A habit is something you do every day. Like brushing your teeth. Like drinking water. Like saying good morning. Obama knew that small habits create big changes. So he would ask himself, what small thing can I do every day this year? Maybe read for 20 minutes. Maybe write 3 sentences in my notebook. Maybe call one person I care about. These are small things. But if you do them every day, they add up. Let me give you a math example. Imagine you read just 10 pages every day. In 1 year, you will read 3,650 pages. That is about 12 books. 12 books in 1 year. Just from reading 10 pages a day. Small habits are powerful. Obama understood this. That is why he started the year thinking about daily practices. Not giant goals. Daily practices. Learning from history. Obama loved history books. He read about Abraham Lincoln. He read about Martin Luther King Jr. He read about Nelson Mandela. He read about people who faced hard times. He read about people who kept going. Why did he read about them? Because their stories gave him strength. Their stories taught him lessons. Let me tell you about one lesson. Nelson Mandela was in prison for 27 years. 27 years. He could have become angry. He could have become bitter. But he did not. He read books in prison. He studied. He thought deeply about forgiveness. When he was finally free, he did not seek revenge. He worked for peace. Obama read this story many times. He thought, if Mandela could forgive after 27 years in prison, I can forgive small things. This is what history teaches us. It shows us what is possible. It shows us how to be strong. It shows us how to be kind even when life is hard. The practice of reflection. There is a word reflection. Reflection means thinking carefully about your life. Looking back at what happened. Thinking about what you learned. Obama practiced reflection every January. He would ask himself questions like, what did I do well last year? What mistakes did I make? What do I want to do differently? These questions are not easy. They take courage. It is hard to admit mistakes. It is hard to see where we failed. But Obama believed this was important. He believed we learn more from our mistakes than from our successes. Here is a simple example. Imagine last year you promised to exercise every day. But you only exercised for 2 weeks. Then you stopped. You could feel bad about this. You could say, I am lazy. I always fail. Or, you could reflect. You could ask, why did I stop? Maybe you chose a hard exercise. Maybe you chose the wrong time of day. Maybe you tried to do too much too fast. When you reflect, you learn. Then you can try again differently. Maybe this year, you exercise just 10 minutes a day. Maybe you choose a time that really works for you. Maybe you start slower. Reflection helps you grow. Obama did this every January. He looked back to move forward. The empty page. Let us return to that empty notebook page. White and clean. Full of possibility. Obama would stare at it sometimes. Just stare. Not writing yet. Just thinking. The empty page is like the new year. Nothing is written yet. Anything is possible. You can write a story of kindness. You can write a story of learning. You can write a story of courage. It is up to you. But here is what Obama understood. You do not have to write the whole story on January 1st. You just have to write the first sentence. The first word. The first step. Imagine you want to write a book this year. That sounds big and scary. A whole book. But what if you just write one page today? Just one page. Tomorrow, one more page. In 1 year, you will have 365 pages. That is a book. You do not have to do everything at once. You just have to begin. Obama began every year this way. Slowly. Quietly. One page at a time. Why not big speeches? You might ask, why did Obama start with reading and writing? Why not give a big speech? Why not announce big plans? Here is why. Words spoken too quickly can be empty. Plans made too fast can fall apart. But words written after deep thought have weight. Plans made after quiet reflection have strength. Obama knew this. He had given many speeches in his life. He knew the power of words. But he also knew the best words come from a quiet mind. The best ideas come from deep reading. The best plans come from honest reflection. So every January, he was quiet first. He read first. He thought first. Then, when he was ready, he spoke. And when he spoke, his words mattered. The practice of gratitude. There is one more thing Obama did every January. He wrote down things he was grateful for. Grateful means thankful. What does this look like? It is simple. You write, I am grateful for my health. I am grateful for my family. I am grateful for this quiet morning. Why do this? Because gratitude changes how you see the world. When you focus on what you have, you feel richer. When you focus on what you lack, you feel poor. Obama understood this. Even in hard times, he looked for things to be grateful for. Let me give you a New Year example. Imagine it is January 1st. You look at the new year. You think, I did not achieve my goals last year. You feel disappointed. But then you write, I am grateful I tried. I am grateful I learned what does not work. I am grateful I can try again. See how the feeling changes. Gratitude does not ignore problems. Gratitude helps you see the whole picture. Obama wrote gratitude lists every January. It helped him start the year with hope. Teaching his daughters. Obama had 2 daughters. Their names are Malia and Sasha. He wanted to teach them about starting the year well. So he showed them. He did not just tell them to read. He read with them. He did not just tell them to write. He wrote with them. He did not just tell them to be quiet sometimes. He sat quietly with them. This is important. We teach best by doing, not by talking. If you want someone to love reading, read with them. If you want someone to be thoughtful, think with them. If you want someone to start slowly yourself. Obama knew this. He lived what he believed. The first week of January. The first week of January was special for Obama. He did not pack it with meetings. He did not rush back to work. He gave himself time. Time to finish a book. Time to write more in his notebook. Time to walk and think. Time to talk with his family. This is counter to what many people do. Many people rush into the new year. They make 10 resolutions on January 1st. By January 7th, they have broken most of them. Why? Because they did not prepare their minds. They did not prepare their hearts. Obama prepared differently. He used the first week to set a foundation. A foundation is the bottom part of a building. It holds everything up. If the foundation is weak, the building falls. Obama built a strong foundation every January. Reading, writing, thinking, gratitude, reflection. These were his foundation. Then the rest of the year could be built on top. Not perfect, but consistent. Now, I must tell you something important. Obama was not perfect. He did not read every single day of his life. He did not always have time for quiet mornings. Some days were too busy. Some days were too hard. But he always came back to these practices. Especially in January. January was his reset. January was his chance to begin again. This is important for you to know. You do not have to be perfect. You will have busy days. You will have days when you forget to read. You will have days when you do not write. That is okay. What matters is coming back. What matters is beginning again. Every January is a new chance. Every morning is a new chance. Every moment is a new chance to start. What we can learn. So what can we learn from Obama's January mornings? We can learn that starting slowly is okay. We can learn that reading opens our minds. We can learn that writing clarifies our thoughts. We can learn that silence helps us hear ourselves. We can learn that small habits create big changes. We can learn that reflection helps us grow. We can learn that gratitude changes our perspective. We can learn that we do not have to do everything at once. We can learn that beginning is enough. A simple practice for you. If you want to try this yourself, here is a simple way. Tomorrow morning, or the next January 1st, do this. Wake up a little early. Do not check your phone right away. Sit somewhere quiet. Take a book. Any book. Something you want to read. Read just 5 pages. Then take a notebook. Write 3 sentences about what you read. Or write 3 things you are grateful for. That is all. 5 pages. 3 sentences. This takes maybe 15 minutes. But these 15 minutes can change your day. These 15 minutes can change your year. The last thing. I will tell you one last thing about Obama's January practice. He did not do it to impress anyone. He did not post about it on social media. He did not tell everyone his plans. He did it privately. He did it for himself. He did it to become a better person. Not to look like a better person. To actually be a better person. This is the difference. Many people want to appear successful. Obama wanted to be thoughtful. Many people want to look busy. Obama wanted to be present. Many people want to seem important. Obama wanted to be kind. The quiet mornings helped him remember this. The books helped him learn this. The writing helped him practice this. Ending. So here we are, at the end of this story. It is a simple story, really. About a man who started each year with a book. About mornings spent in silence. About blank pages waiting to be filled. About the small choice to begin slowly. You do not need to be a president to do this. You do not need to be famous. You do not need anything except a quiet moment, a book, a notebook, and the willingness to begin. The new year will come. It always does. The question is not what you will achieve. The question is how you will begin. Will you rush? Or will you sit for a moment? Will you fill your mind with noise? Or will you read something that makes you think? Will you write long lists of things you must do? Or will you write a few words about who you want to be? These are your choices. They are small choices. But they matter. Obama knew they mattered. That is why he made them every January. And maybe, if we listen to this quiet example, we can make them too. Not because we should, not because someone told us to, but because we want to start the year awake. We want to start the year thinking. We want to start the year as our best selves. And that kind of start? It begins in silence. It begins with a book. It begins with a blank page. It begins slowly. And slowly is enough. Thank you for listening.